They were the equivalent of the American Wild West, the steppe people. They were the Don Cossacks. The first Romanov to gain power in Russia was Mikhail, and he had support from the Cossacks, and after years of chaos, when he finally got on the throne, he sent representatives to the Cossack region to tell them to submit under his rule. When the Cossacks heard of this, they did it in Cossack style, and he was put into a bag and thrown into the Don River. The Romanovs tried and tried again, but the allied Cossacks refused to be subjects, which was chaos, but the Moscow government allowed it, and they allowed them to expand and conquer lands as long as it was officially part of the Russian lands, such as Siberia. What was a Cossack? Well, to put it simply, biologically, the Cossacks were interbreds of Central Asians from the descendants of Genghis Khan, who were basically from the Mongol and Mongolian Empire that stretched from all the way from China all the way to Hungary's border. It didn't expand all that much, and of course, it pretty much dissolved after that point. And the southern part, which is near Mongolia, near the Chinese-Russian border, is now the steppe, and it was under the control of the Tatars, who carried out raids and selling slaves to the Ottoman slave market. Now the Russian part of the Cossacks, when the Tsars of Russia gained power, the people of the land were basically made into serfs, which was basically being as close to slaves as possible, but of course being in your own country. So wanting to escape this, they fled to the south, which was the steppe, and intermingled with the Tatars, and that's basically how you get a biological Cossack, nomadic horseman, to Slavic Orthodox Central Asian descent. The bravest, the toughest, and the most self-reliant can only live in the land of the Tatars, where you live by the sword and the shotgun, and of course you kneeled to no man. They were actually the first democratic tribe. They actually held elections for a village chief, and they only had 1 year of power, as not to corrupt or to gain too much power from that one individual. Even women could vote. Anyone could be a Cossack if you're brave enough, strong enough, and most of all self-reliant enough to journey to these lands at the steppe. It didn't matter race, creed, religion, kind of religion, but all you had to do was believe in the Orthodox Church. The Russians did like the fact that they had a buffer to the south and to the east as well, and the Cossacks did help them to gain power, but times change, and the Moscow government wanted them as subjects. So in the 18th and 19th centuries, they saw wars for the Cossacks and Cossack lands, and there was of course Cossack rebellions against the Russians. The Russians did win, and the Cossack lands were now under Russian rule. So of course most of their traditions were diluted, and the Ottoman was now appointed by the Tsar himself. The elites of the Cossacks had actually blended into the lands and became traditional Russian elites, and serfdom was introduced to Cossack lands. The warrior tradition didn't die, however it came at a cost. The Tsar wanted 20 to 30 years of military service. You must own your own horse and equipment as well. Another downside was the Cossacks had to go against their tradition and oppress the people and kill opponents of the Tsar. In return, they did get grants of land at least, but they weren't mindless killers. As the Cossack military service to the Tsar almost broke down, as they refused to quell a rebellion in 1905 after the Russo-Japanese War, which was the Workers' Rebellion, which made the Duma. By World War I, they were ready to fight as boys, middle-aged men, and even older men. They came to serve the Tsar, and they made up the Tsar's cavalry along with the Polish hussars. This was modern war, especially of the first few months of the war. However, the Russian generals ordered mass cavalry charges, but it did little effect to the machine guns of World War I. And later, October Revolution started. The Cossacks were seen, and many peasants knew when they saw a Cossack, there was trouble around. But the Cossacks were allowed to let the February Revolution proceed. They were the warriors of the steppes, however. They started the Romanov dynasty. They broke the backs of Napoleon, took Siberia. They almost broke the backs of the Austro-Hungarians, and they even saw the demise and the dissolution of the Romanov dynasty. They loved freedom, but ultimately they would become the symbols of oppression and terrible acts committed by the Russian people.